Hello there, it's Al here from MBX, Mind Body Extra. And welcome to you from locally and across the world. I know there's a few people across the world today, so you're very welcome, as well as the people that normally listen to me. Today, we've got quite a controversial subject, so I can't take any questions. I find it very difficult, so please leave them later in the comments, and I promise I'll get back to you. So the subject today is past, present and future lives. Now that can be very controversial, as I've already said, and do you know what? It brings up another controversial subject that I haven't included today, but it is part of this. It's called reincarnation. Whether or not you believe in reincarnation or not is irrelevant, because half of the world does and the other half doesn't. In fact, reincarnation is a fact every day anyway. So there's cells bursting into life every day in all of us, that's every one of us, and all species, replacing cells that are then disintegrating, going back into their original state, which is eventually the energetic state. So you see, if that's not reincarnation on a daily basis, it makes a lot of sense to think it could be on a bigger lifetime basis as well. Although I'm not saying one or the other, so don't take me wrong. What we're here to talk about is past, present and future lives. So let's look at your past life. Past life, is it a past life of a past life that I'm referring to? Well, not necessarily. Today I'm talking about past life. It's your past. So let's look closely at your past. If you want to, if you've got a pad in front of you, put 3 columns. In the first column, the heading would be past. In the second column, it could be present. And in the third column, it'll be future. So in the first column there, we're going to put past life. Where does it start? Well, it starts when you arrived here, and at about 2, you were very, very comfortable with everything, and you knew you existed, etc., etc. But from about 2 on, you started to realise that you had a name, you responded to it. When I was a little kid, I can remember that my parents called me Alan, and when I was a naughty boy, I got Alan a lot. But when I was a good boy, I was called Al, so that's why now I prefer to go with the name Al. From about that age, 2, you got your name, and then you went to school, you were educated, and you added on to this original condition. So that's past. And then when you got older, you started to go through more school, and you had more experiences, you had friends, families, you played sport or whatever you did, you've got interests and hobbies, and that's your future up to this day, your past up to this day, that's your past up to this day, and that influences now your present. So people like to ask me, what will I be in the future? So we're going to skip over the present. What will I be in the future? Well, the obvious answer to that is, what you'll be in the future is actually everything you've done up to the present. Your future is dictated by what you've done from that first experience when you were about 2, which you can sometimes remember, going through school, etc., etc., and it's got you to the present, and now we're talking future. And if you want to know what the future you will be doing, have a look at your present. If you want to know what your past was doing, also have a look at your present. So we come back to the middle column. So have a look at the present here and put in the middle column all of what you are currently doing. If you want to, you can take some time and list it, because what you're currently doing will affect your future, and that's what you'll be doing tomorrow and on. So we've got past, present and future lives in this lifetime. Now, if you want to go into reincarnation and get to such things as hypnotherapy, which I'm pretty intimate with, I still do a lot of hypnotherapy for clients, etc., etc., we can get down through the consciousness of us, go through our conscious, into our subconscious and unconscious, and we can release areas which seem to defy time. In other words, they're bouncing from this lifetime back into something else. That something else we can call reincarnation, former lives, etc., etc., but it seems to bounce back into something else, and those past lives influence this current life. So once we've passed over, we take over the informational package we've had in this lifetime, we take it back into our original form, which is no form, but it's now got a data package with it from a lifetime. And of course, if that hasn't been lived out, if it hasn't been recognised, it will come back into some form of embodiment, which is now another life. And we very often get the examples where people say, you know what, I've got this strange habit and I don't know where it came from. There's nothing in this lifetime which brought it along. They're examples which I've seen with differing people over the years. It's come from right the way back. It's very interesting stuff, but we're here to make it everyday stuff. We want you to be able to realise that what you do today will be the past tomorrow. So you see, if we're very aware of our present, we're going to affect what we do from now on in ways which you may not have had prior to this. So having a look at this much more closely now, have a look at where is the past? Can you show it to me? Can you actually take all the things out of that first column, the past column, and can you show it to me? And the answer will be no. Have a look at the present column. Can you show me these things? Are they tangible things out there in the world of phenomena? Things out there, objects and that? Can you actually show them to me? No, you can't. Have a look at the third column, the future column. Can you subtract any of those out of there and show them to me so that we can actually examine them together? No, you can't. So therefore, we have a look at this, and therefore, what is this past, present and future? Well, what it is an electrical stimulus that's holding data, information from your experiences inside you that's not out here. So as a thing out here, these things do not exist. If I said to you, show me now, you can't. Everyone's talking about being in the now, but do you know by the time we've said it, it's gone. So people say there's a lot of power in now. We've spoken about this previously. There is no power in the now because how can there be when it's gone? It's gone as we say it. The only power of this is to be aware of it as it's happening. That's where the power lies. So time is therefore what past, present and future lives are. Time, actually, if we have a close look at it and are game enough and courageous enough to say, does it exist? I'm wearing a clock, or I'm wearing a watch, I should say. Does it exist? In reality, it doesn't, because time is made up by us. It's saying there is a past and it exists. It's saying there is a present and it exists. It's saying there's a future and it exists. Well, we can't actually experience it, even the present, because when we experience it, it's gone. The only thing we can experience is the awareness that it's gone. And if we become very, very aware of what we're experiencing, past, present and future will all automatically change together. In other words, what you've got stored as information from your so-called past and what you're doing in the present and what you plan to do in the future will be under the umbrella of awareness. So if it is under the umbrella of awareness, imagine how much better you do it. Imagine now holding a magnifying glass under the sun and aiming it at a piece of paper. If I move the magnifying glass around, it has no power. But if I hold the magnifying glass very still under the sun's rays, it'll start a fire, and sometimes a very big fire. So it's like awareness. If you hold the awareness steady, if you learn to hold the awareness steady in the happening as it's happening, I'll say that again. Hold the awareness steady in the happening as it's happening. Not remembering it happening and not planning it's happening, but remembering it now as it's happening. As it's happening, remember to remember, hold the awareness steady. Let's try this. We've done this previously in the last couple of weeks, I think. I'd have to check my notes, but I think we've done this. Count with me out loud. 1, 2, 3. All together now. 1, 2, 3. What comes next? No, I heard some of you say 4. I heard that last time. I didn't say 4. I didn't say we'll count to 4. I said 3. What comes next is the fluid changing moments. If our mind takes us to 4, we're not present. Remember the term present is to be aware of it. If we are aware of this as it's continuing to unfold for us, it's like a flowing river. Can you step in the same river twice? No. Can you step in the river as it's changing? Yes. This is life. Past, present and future is nothing more than a river. And we can be aware of it. We can be so aware of it that we can actually go through these phases that we call past, present and future and come to terms with it. so that, guess what? We can live. People often say, what's the purpose of life? And the simple answer is to live. I'm just going to check on my time to see how we're going. Okay, we've still got a little bit of time, so if we want to, we can go a little bit further, and I should do, because this is a very controversial subject. Some of you won't be too happy with the way I'm presenting it to you. Maybe we want to go more esoteric, more spiritual, or whatever. I'm going to the reality of it. There is no such thing as past, present, and future. Remember to remember that. Remember to remember awareness. Remember to remember awareness as it's happening. If we do that, past, present, and future will look after themselves. I think I've run out of time now. I'm really looking forward to seeing you next week. But before I do, I've got to remind you of a few things coming up, you know. I'm very keen to keep you coming back and chatting with me and sending me questions, etc., etc. Very keen to have you join up with us, you know. We've got this fantastic membership, which is very inexpensive. It costs no more than a coffee and cake per month. And for that, you'll get private sessions like we're doing here today, open to anyone. You get private sessions. You'll have private meditations that I'll go over with you. You'll have interviews with some of the world's best athletes and high performers. You'll have access to all of our programs, which are there behind me, and they're developing further, all for the cost of a coffee and cake per month. So if you really, really want to, you know, come aboard with us to our worldwide network, you'll be able to contact other members who might be very useful for you across the world. So join us up. We'd really love to have you. Very inexpensive. You'll be welcome. So coming up next week, we've got Intuition. That's the 16th of March at 11:20 a.m. local time, Melbourne time. Intuition. The following week is the 23rd of March. We talk about intention, attention. Intention, attention. And the following week on the 30th of March, this is interesting to a lot of people, covers all areas. You're very interested in this, I know. High achievers. How do they do that? The following week, this is something which I would love you all to become. How to become a master of yourself, a master of life. That's the 6th of April, 11:20 a.m. Melbourne local time again. The following week after that, we talk about genius. This is quite misunderstood. People think it's born, but you too can be a genius. That's coming up on the 13th of April, local time, Melbourne time, 11:20 a.m. again. And then here's one which I really want to talk to you all about. I hope you all tune in for this one. This is the conditional love. We often hear the term unconditional love. Do you really know what this means? Most welcome to come along to those. I'd really love you to be there. And then coming up, we've got webinars and contact workshops, 9 to 12 noon, I should say. On the 28th of May, we've got Blip 1 and Blip 2. Applied meditation, taking meditation out today, all day, every day. Then we've got the Blip of Health between 9 and 12 noon on the 30th of June. Venues to be announced. And then the Blip of Tennis for you tennis players. And we have other programs that will cover this as well. The 23rd of July, the Blip of Tennis. Between 9 and 12 noon. Thank you for coming along today. Please send your inquiries to me. I promise I'll get back to you. Thanks for joining me. See you next time. Bye for now.